Hi guys, it's Mrs. Zimmerman. This video is going to be about how to write free response questions for the AP Biology exam. We do a ton of practice throughout the year on how to answer these questions. Half of your AP exam score is going to come from free response or essay questions. So I want to make sure that you feel extremely comfortable going into the test and you know all of the tips and tricks that the exam readers are going to be looking for when answering the questions. So the very first thing you need to do is make sure that you read the question that's being asked. Make sure you're answering exactly what they want you to answer and do not answer anything extra. They want it short and to the point. So do not restate the question, you just go straight to answering it. Make sure that you answer all parts of the question. Many of the free response questions are going to be multiple part answers, so you need to make sure that you answer each part. One of the most important things is that it has to be in essay form. You cannot write in an outline. If you use diagrams, you need to make sure that you explain them in sentence form or they won't be graded. Anything that you do, even math problems that are in the free response questions, you always have to explain and justify your response in sentence form. If you use any sort of terms, make sure that you explain them. You want to make sure that whoever is reading your free response answer understands that you understand what is going on. So anytime you make a claim or you make a statement, you need to make sure that you support that with either data or explanation. This one, huge. You got to be able to write neatly. If you're one of those people that are super messy or sloppy, or your writing is very hard to read, they will not spend extra time trying to decipher your reading. So you need to make sure that you write legibly, and all of your answers should always be in pen. Now, if you make a mistake, don't waste a whole bunch of time trying to scribble that out. Just put one straight line through it and keep writing. Couple other things. If you don't remember a word exactly, or are able to explain it in as much detail as you want to, give it a shot. Try to explain it. As long as you show them that you kind of understand and don't go too far off topic, then you'll be okay. Now, when it comes to the exam, you are going to have a mixture of 10-point questions, 4-point questions, 3-point questions. The 10-point questions should take you around 20 minutes to answer, and the 4 and 3-point questions should take you around 6 minutes to answer. So you need to make sure that you pace yourself. You always want to answer the longer free response questions first, so you get those out of the way. In case you run out of time, then you're not missing out on a major point question. The free response questions are going to be difficult. If you look at the national average, students your age are only getting between 3 and 5 out of 10 points. So they're going to be difficult. They're meant to challenge you. They're meant to show that you really know the topic that is being asked. So make sure that you relax, do the best you can, answer it the best you can. Even if you get some points from the question and you don't get it all correct, that's going to help out your score at the end. As I stated before, don't write an introduction, don't restate the question, don't put any extra fancy stuff in there. You literally just want to go in there and answer the question. Just answer what they want you to know. Don't waste time writing, and don't waste the reader's time reading things that don't really need to be written down. Don't worry about spelling or grammar. If you get it as close to possible, that is great. They're not going to give you points or take away points if your grammar or spelling is incorrect. You just need to make sure that they understand what you mean. If we look at point-wise, each essay point is worth almost twice the amount that a multiple choice question is worth. So we want to make sure that throughout the year you really understand how to answer these free response questions so that we can get you as many points as possible. You want to get a 4 or a 5 on the AP exam, so I'm trying to give you as many tips as possible. So if we look, the AP College Board always gives off example questions from years past, and that's what we will be using for our practice free response questions. Here's one question. I believe it was from 2014. It's a 4-point question, so this one should take around 6 minutes to answer. This question, they give you 4 unknown species and their amino acid sequence, and you have to do 2 things with that. You have to explain the most likely genetic change that produced the polypeptide in species 2 and the most likely genetic change that produced the polypeptide in species 3. And then the second part of that question is to predict the effects of the mutation on the structure and function of the resulting species, of the resulting protein in species 4, and then you have to justify that prediction. So since the AP revamp, all of the free response questions are graded with a rubric. Each reader for the exam is going to have the same rubric, and they are looking for the exact thing that is on the rubric in your writing. So for part A, it was 1 point per row for 2 points maximum to explain it. So you had to get this part and this part to get a point, and then you had to get this part and this part to get your second point. If we look at part B, 1 point for each reasonable prediction about the effects of the mutation and 1 point for the justification, and you can earn up to 2 points there. So if you made this prediction, you had to say that that was your justification. If you made this prediction, this was your justification. If you made this prediction, this was your justification. So this was a 4-point problem. If you look, here is an example of what a 4-point answer should look like. If you look, there's no introduction. The writing is neat and can be read. It's in pen. And since it's a 2-part question, this student labeled A and B so that the reader can easily see where the answer to the first part of the question ends and where the answer to the second part of the question begins. Now, if you separate it like this, which you should, and you answer part of question or part of part A and part B, they will give you the points for that. So, make sure that it's as legible as possible, and I hope that helps. Like I said, we'll be practicing this a ton this year, but I wanted to give you some quick tips to getting a 5.